as it is under the Buhari administration. There's a bit of controversy coming out of that now, but how is it going to happen? Recall that the former president had said no one should call him on an account of any probe or anything.
Expressly.
He's not going to be available for it. If you stress him so much, he would move to Niger Republic. He had said that earlier. So I don't know how we're going to do this, how the nation hopes to do it, how the Senate hopes to do it. But there was a mild and interesting drama, an interesting turn of things yesterday at the Senate when these matters came up. We'll be looking at some of these in a bit. I'll let you listen to some of the what played out on the floor of the Senate yesterday when the Senate president, or the president of the Senate, Godswill Akpabio, made mention of the fact that it was the failure or the whatever. Now I don't want to call it failure because somehow it seems like we fear the word failure so much. Yeah, but it was the failure on the part of the Ninth Senate to perform its oversight that has led the country to where it is. And in response to that, the former president of the Senate, or the immediate past Senate president, Ahmed Lawan, had something interesting to say. Now, the president of the Senate has also said there's nothing that should be left unturned, no stone should be left unturned, and no idea should be left unexplored as to solving the problem of food insecurity and hunger in the country. Listen to the president of the Senate as he addresses, speaks on the matter of food insecurity.
Now, we are at the threshold where nothing should be ruled out because Nigerians want food. The hungry population is an angry population. And so we must do everything possible to put food on the table of Nigerians. I recognize the need for us to protect local production, but at the moment we are under an emergency. Many other lawmakers.
And well, that's the president of the Senate there on the matter. No idea should be overruled, including, and that suggests that importation should also be on the table.
Why not?
The idea of importation of food, as much as we want to protect local production, we also need to find ways to make sure that food is in the country. And speaking of importation, the NIS, the Customs Service, the Nigeria Customs Service, has said they are going to, be distributing food and other commodities seized by the agency, or the service as it is, to Nigerians. Now, the question is, under what circumstances were these food items seized? Were they contraband? Yes, maybe. Have some of them expired? Who's going to check? Those are the questions in my mind. If some of these things have been in warehouses or even the customs yard for a period now, are we going to inspect them to ensure that they haven't expired and they're still good for consumption or safe for consumption? Because as it is, we saw a situation at some point where food that was supposed to be going to IDPs had expired. Some of them turned black, in warehouses. Now, also, the federal government saying that it was going to release food from the strategic reserves and silos across the country may have met some level of failure, because they're saying that there's indication that there's no food in the silos. That even the 42,000 metric tons that the Ministry of Agriculture had said was available may not be available in those silos, because out of the 33 silos in the country, just about 7 of them are functional, and they may not have up to that amount of food in them. And so what is going to happen now? The promise of distributing food or distributing food items by the federal government for free, is it another one of those promises that's going to fall to the ground? I have a lot of questions in my mind, but I'm not going to ask.
Some quarters have come from the place that, look, the truth is we are in some sort of crisis, and we are not being awake or awoken to it. The truth is, there are different kinds. There are, the government should at different levels, have saw this coming. I mean, it just gets back to the place of proper planning.
You know, if that's one of the challenges we've had in this country. Planning.
If you had the planning, I mean, you knew that you were going to come take over power, right? As some quarters would say, that you'd already said it was your turn, right? It means, therefore, that every setback you would have had a counter fight back, you know, on the ways and means or ideas, you know, as to how you're going to tackle it. And that it was not going to be about coming in and then blaming the past administration. It should also come to mind the fact that the past administration was also the same party, right? And
many of the people in that administration are still
in the system. So it also begs for the question of, are we to go have a total system overhaul? Is that what we really need if we must be able to counter or surmount the problems that we face today? Because these challenges are beginning to seem as though we are refurbishing the old people, the same old people. When I mean old now, I'm not talking about the age. I'm talking about the same people who've been in the system for donkey years, right? They are the same persons that are still there making. There's the same people sitting at the place of administration. There's the same people who are, telling us how much they're doing to tackle the situation, but it seems as though all of these have just fallen on, rocky soil, right? So it begs for the place of planning. And now that we have not seen proper planning, if there is any, now would be the right time to bring it out as a strategy, right? But if there is no planning, shouldn't we just go back, and talk to Nigerians and say this is what it is? Because I would be offended personally as a Nigerian if I'm not being told the truth. We want to see a responsible government that would be able to come out and say that, look, this is the truth of the. But the government is not telling us the subsidy is removed.
IMF says that subsidy has been
reintroduced. That's what I was. I beg your pardon.
And how come the economy, we're going to salvage the economy,
right,
and then these people seem not to be doing that? The issue of forex crisis, for instance, we saw the EFCC raiding Zone 4 and opening fire on innocent
citizens right there.
Citizens. That's quite embarrassing to see. It was quite a show of shame, like really embarrassing, because there are people who need to be tackled. How do the black market banks sitting on when it comes to foreign exchange? All right, who are the people to bureau the change operators to get the dollar? Who are the people? Because the guy who goes to the bureau de change with maybe $200 or $500 is not the problem. Because that's
the sponsor.
Again, who is responsible for regulating bureau de change operations? The CBN. Right? How many bureau de change operators do we have in the country? The last time, as of the last count, from what I saw, we had about 5,000, over 5,000. Close to 5,600 BDCs. I hear there was a review and to cut them down, but I think we still have around,
still 5,000
BDCs. Why do we need that much BDCs operating in the country?
Because
these are fundamental questions.
Because we need so much dollar, to
serve
the gains of those who are pushing it out and churning it out.
Exactly. So again, if these are the problems, these are some of the things that the CBN needs to do. Be honest about what you're doing. All right. If you want to tackle the problem, go to the source of it and tackle the problem. Who are the people who get, really huge monies coming in, and then they take those monies to the banks and insist that the bank, and over 50% of that state allocation is, they try to change that into dollars for their personal use. So who is supposed to watch that? Who's supposed to manage that? It's the CBN. The CBN maybe would say has failed in its role, but in its regulatory role.
The CBN will still tell you that they are not totally in control. I mean, you should see some of the changes that the current CBN
they just keep pushing out memos and memos and memos that really are not working. They should get on this, go into those banks, open their books, find out what is going on with the banks. how much dollars do you have, and who are the people who you're giving those dollars to? But the thing is, it can really happen because I mean we're all in cahoots.
That's
You know,
the thing.
if I know a friend in this business or in this game of arbitrage, am I going to throw him under the bus? Am I going to get him arrested? If until we're ready to do the right thing, irrespective, the other leg of this conversation,
Right.
which has to do with the ways and means.
True.
The ways and means advances that the federal government investment, some temporary loans
Short term.
paid off within a short term, and it's supposed to be according to the CBN Act of 2000 from the previous year. All right. So if, for instance, Nigeria got 1 billion naira as revenue and
okay.
for the previous year, then the Ninth Senate. What happened in the last administration was we saw a situation where, first of all, there was a move to they changed that
The currency itself.
the act
The
itself.
act,
They
sorry.
amended the act to allow for over the ways and means, which was against the CBN Act of 2007.
Right.
Then they issued, right, or so, of the revenue, or 200% of the revenue accruable in loans to the federal government within a period. And now when it got to what happened yesterday at the floor of the Senate, Godswill Akpabio says, look, the people who must answer for this, and that would be people from the Ninth Senate who
That's right.
superintended or was supposed to play an oversight function,
part of the process.
in that process. And the former Senate president had something interesting to say. I'll let you listen to that conversation and make your judgments as to what it is that where we are as a country. Listen to.
We are saying what you did at that time has put the nation in more mess economically. And therefore, because of the current economic situation we have found ourselves, must make a statement on this issue.
It was not 30 trillion. It was 22. We have a ways and means that is 30 today. That means something happened between then and now.
Okay, so that's it.
Did you get that?
I mean-
Did you get what he was saying? The second voice you heard was that of Ahmed Lawan, the former president of the Senate, or the immediate past president of the Senate. And he was saying if the explanation would be that it wasn't 30 trillion at the time. Now, there's a lot of questions several questions about, okay, are you going to probe the 23 trillion naira ways and means that was issued under your watch? And if so, are you going to allow for who are in the 10th Senate? We're all members and part of the 9th Senate, or rather that administration.
Assembly, yeah.
The current president of the Senate was a minister in the Buhari cabinet, the administration or the cabinet that took the 23 trillion naira loan or ways and means from the CBN. So would he claim ignorance? Would we say that those conversations were not had at the state National Executive Council meetings? Were they not informed? Was he not aware himself? Had questions to answer in the Senate that was in the 9th Senate, where the honorable senator off your mic, honorable,
Right.
off your mic. We had that situation, and as it is, within that period, going by what Ahmed Lawan said, it means that another ways and means amounting to about 7 trillion naira had been taken between December and January, within January of this year.
Yeah, right. Okay,
So
I get the logic.
the
now.
question is,
Who's responsible?
who's
for that?
responsible for that?
Because you can't.
If you're questioning the former
Yeah.
president of the Senate under your watch as well, another as way at you.
some observers are looking at that whole process and everything. Had pointed out that there is some jittery, in the ways that the Senate president, addressed the situation, saying that, look, it's all part of the whole thing. I mean, so much so that we want to focus on the present. Now, good. That is good, right? Saying that, okay, let the past go, let's focus on the present and all of that. But look, if you were part of the process or of an administration that had, these things,
laws and what the law says, and some of the aspects of the law that may have been what's the word now, that may have been faulted so by the last administration, and may have also be currently been undermined. Section 38 of the CBN Act 2007 reads, Act of temporary deficiency of budget revenue at such rates of interest as the bank may determine. Section 2, subsection grants such further advances in any subsequent year. Now it goes on to say, and B, in such form as the bank may determine, provided that no repayment shall take the form of a promissory note or such other promise to pay at a future date, or securitization forms of security which is required to be underwritten by the bank. Section 39. The bank may act as a banker to state and local governments to fund institutions or corporations established by the federal, state, and local governments. Now, that's Section 38 of the CBN Act. Not be done, and what should never be done. Okay, one of such is that never be securitized. What the last administration did was bring a bill to the National Assembly for the securitization of the loans, knowing what the CBN Act says. No one would say they didn't know. These are lawmakers. These are
there is more. There is more. It's really almost laughable because it's turning dramatic, and many Nigerians are indeed political observers too, are looking at these processes. I mean, if you look at what the likes of Ali, in the process, while that process was going on, it will shock you.
Approved the loan even without the details. They said it was an emergency, so they had to approve the loans without the details, and up till now they don't know what the monies were spent on. So because the federal government had told them that it was an emergency, they needed the monies, and so they decided to approve the loans because the federal government, especially as they have they had the majority in the National Assembly, as such, they wanted to be somewhat I don't know how to say this. What's the word that they said? We call that the
alliance or something?
Yes, something like that. We wanted to be an alliance with the federal government brings to us. Now, Godswill Akpabio is saying that they're not going to allow such things happen in their administration or in their time as 10th Senate. But already we see that 7 trillion naira, which Lawan is saying, needs to be explained as well. It's coming up. So we're probably going to have a situation where you don't want to probe me. That's to me is a subtle way of it's a subtle threat, and saying you don't want to probe me because you also have done the same thing. So you're also going to have to probe the 7 trillion.
Well, this just being over dramatic and all of that. Others are saying that probably this might just be a way of spotlighting, on the Senate and spotlighting on the processes that goes on in terms of how the government says that I want this to happen this way, regardless of what your laws or the laws that surround you says. Would you really say that I cannot, because my law, I will not do this? This
interest of Nigeria, they're there to protect the interests of Nigeria and Nigerians. They are supposed to be. They are. I mean, as far as I'm concerned, if you were elected, you are supposed to do the beating of those who elected you and not the beating of the one who is of equal stance as you, because we have 3 tiers of the judiciary. So these are all independent, supposed to be independent. When you make yourself subservient to and you've lost everything. Let's listen more to the drama on the floor of the
This debt overhanging, Mr. President, is responsible for the problems we're having, which nobody said.
You were there when the Ways and Means were approved.
Check. I was not there. Check the record. And as I said, number one, wait now. You cannot. I repeat, you cannot approve illegality. What they did was illegal. The Senate doesn't have the right. Let it be on record. I was not there. I was not there. Take the record. I was not there, but you were there. But I was not there. I was not there.
I was not there.
I was not there, but you were there.
No, you were there.
You were
I was
there.
not there. No, I could not be there.
It's just our political system.
Well, the National Assembly is always a place of drama. I mean, even the House of Lords and the House of Commons in the United Kingdom, there's a lot of drama there. Congress as well in the United States, they have a lot of drama.
I was not there.
I mean, these are the kinds of people who we elect to represent us.
My friend, good morning.
Good morning, Paul.
We have gotten another. I think Nigeria should come up with another song. I was not there, you were there. I was not there, you were
yes,
there.
I'm sure Paul Cleverly will jump on this and maybe make a song out of it.
Disastrous.
This is why Yoruba will say Wahala Wa. This National Assembly, I don't know. My friend,
Sir,
can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Know, I don't know. There's this bird. You know, there's this bird they use in fishing. What fishermen? Have you seen that kind of bird?
No, I haven't.
A bird?
No, it's a bird like that. This traditional fishermen, they use it.
Okay.
They will carry the bird. They will give the bird one fish to eat first. Then they will now release the bird inside the water. It's just like a dog. The bird will go inside, catch the fish, leave it inside the throat. That bird will not swallow. So sometimes if the bird comes out and is trying to swallow the fish, the fisherman will hold the neck of the fish, just bring the fish out. In this Senate, the 9th Senate and the 10th Senate, I don't know who is going to be that fisherman and who is going to be the bird now. So we are waiting to see whether they are going to prop the money that was swallowed. In fact, they are thinking to expose us.
Good morning to you.
Good morning, Professor.
Good morning.
Professor.
Thank you. Good morning to you.
How are you? Danoja is myself.
Awesome. Awesome.
You see, a corrupt country ruled by corrupt men. You see, National Assembly, see what they are talking. Even the 10 million, where the money? It's not the amount, where the one way you agree, where the wicked people, that government, this is good to where they do to Nigeria. All the houses where you see in Abuja here.
So some people are wondering what the securitization would mean. The securitization of that loan would mean that it has been added to the public debt. All right, okay. And over a longer period as against the short-term period that it's supposed to be, which would mean that you and I and maybe our children would have to pay back these loans over a period. Thinking about which would mean that it's not going to be paid. It's not the payments on the principal would not begin until about 3 years later. So that's what securitization actually in the easiest form means. Let's get back to the phone lines.
Hello to you. Good morning.
Thank you, my prince.
Good morning, Abbas Anjo.
You were there. I was not there.
Yeah, I was not there.
The whole thing put us into mess. My prince.
I can hear
as I'm talking to you, all these things that you see, all of them, both the honorable minister of your mind or a lot of issues has put us into this problem. Like I'm talking to you now, my prince, wallahi, I am financially handicapped of going back to school. As I'm talking to you, the means of going back is not there. Why? Because it's a shameful for me, I passenger, public to ask people in the public, I want to go back to school, that the means is not there. The means is not there with the leadership of the country like this.
Right. Okay.
Now we are all advocating for this thing. I was there, you were not there, all these ones. Please, I am begging the Nigerian the Eagles family, please, I Obasanjo from Amali, financially handicapped of going back to school. Please, I am begging the medium. Thank you.
Oh, wow. It's getting to that point where people would have to, be soliciting or solicit for support and financial aid because they can't even meet their basic needs and their basic concerns as a family. I saw somebody yesterday, and my heart bled to an extent because these are people who naturally, that they're quite
lazy.
Comfortable. They're not lazy and all, but they've come to the point where they have to just see strangers on the road and ask them for assistance. And the worst is that children they also have children with them, and using these children somewhat to give them these kinds of help. But again, someone said Nigerians never learn. It is our responsibility as a people to make sure that we make the right decisions and make the right choices at every point. If you're going to... Okay, let's just leave that. I don't want to say more. Before someone comes to my head. Let's get back. We have more callers.
Yeah, we do. Hello. Good morning to you. Hello. Good morning. Oh, you might have to call us back. Line is a bit cracky. It's not very clear. Do well to call us. The number is 0907-353-0044.
The funny thing about the economy is that even when people were buying rice for 8,000 and 8,500 naira, they still complained.
That's it.
When the dollar was at 150 naira, people still complained. It didn't seem like the economy was any good or any better, and that's because a lot of people believe in just taking from the state treasury. If we had a situation where people would not steal so much or loot the treasury so much, maybe we would have been in a better place now.
If we're honest with
ourselves.
We're not.
We haven't paying attention to those who are in government. How about those who run different ministries, agencies of government,
MDAs and all
MDAs,
that.
all of those things, those people, how much such light do we have on them?
Yeah, Nacho, if we're going to go into this, I'll also be forced to ask the question of who watches the EFCC itself and its excesses.
Oh, well.
I mean, the EFCC watches over every other person, but who watches them?
Well,
so it's going to be a deep question, right? But then I also, want to take my heart to the place where one of our callers had called in to give a scenario. I pray we don't get to that scenario. The scenario where people will have to now begin to get into homes telling you, I want to sleep. I just need a place to sleep.
Yes.
And I have to sleep.
Yes.
It won't be you won't have to.
You don't have a choice.
You don't have a choice. I just pray we don't get to that level, and it goes back to the decision making the right choices. Let's take this call. Hello.
Good morning this morning, my prince, and Lady newcomer Edward.
Thank you. Good morning to you.
This is
John, you're welcome. Good to have you, John.
Let's have your thoughts.
Yes, so Lafia.
My prince, I think over the years since the inception of this FM station, regular FM, I've been telling you that National Assembly has been our problem. They're always on our neck. If not, you see, from Buhari regime to this present government, you can check the number of loans they have collected so far, and the executive will just go express. You cannot sit down and debate what are you using this thing for, what is it for, and what can check the executive. I think they are made to check the executive, and they continue to borrow and borrow and borrow. The same Ahmed now you are hearing his voice now said Buhari means well. Anything he approved, he wanted, we will give him. And you see the loan piling up. What is the road for this loan? Where are the electricity for this loan? And the money, where is the money? Where is the money? Now they say, I am not there, I am there. This country looks very funny. And now this man, present government have continued in the same line. You see, the few months and the months they have spent so far, it's all about borrowing and borrowing and borrowing. You can't believe, yesterday I heard from you, And your guest yesterday said the National Assembly have approved their own decision that the country is hard, so they have to increase their own salary. Their own salary when the work.
That's what the guest said.
Allowances. Allowances.
Yes,
okay,
allowances. They have approved their own allowances. When the workers are struggling, when the country is down, they don't even talk about how we going to help the executive improve the life of our citizens. All they needed is their own. They are concerned about their own. Is it not? It's a pity. It's a pity. Who will prove them now? Who will prove this National Assembly, for God's sake? Because they are not checking the executive. Executive is their own, doing whatever they want. Who will prove them? I am tired of this country. Thank you very much.
Well,
right. It's not time to
interesting times.
Right now,
we also let you know, told you earlier that you know, the same National Assembly that wants to approve the 9th National Assembly securitized just in December, securitized 7 trillion naira on the request of the President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. And if that's the case, who's going to probe who?
Right.
Would it be a question of the hunter, or being chased after by the bushmeat now? What would that be? I don't know. It's a lot confusing these days when you look at the polity and what's going on in the country. Let's get in more callers.
Hello, good morning to you.
What is happening with this line? What's happening? What's happening? Please call the other number.
Yeah.
If you have this one, then you probably have the other one. Just look at the number that you have and call a different one. Both numbers 090-7353-0044 and 090-8766-8888. Send SMS and WhatsApp messages to 090-9705-4450.
Hello to you. Good morning.
Hello, good morning, Dr. Uduak and my prince, Iheanacho.
Good morning
to you.
Yeah.
Yes, this is Omotayo reaching you from Galadimawa.
Awesome.
Omotayo, you're welcome.
Welcome aboard.
Thank you so much. Yes. I was not there, but you were there.
No, Omotayo, you were there. You were there. You cannot say you were not there. You were there.
You see? What we saw is 30 trillion. No, it's not 30 trillion. It's
23.
So these are the kind of things you hear when a country allows the executive to appoint the head of the legislature. You see, these are the kind of things, because look, to me, the Nigerian legislature has trampled upon the same constitution they swore to abide by.
Right.
If not, the current Senate president should not even be the Senate president as we speak. Ordinarily, he's not even supposed to be in the Senate. If Nigerian legislature have not trampled upon the law they swore to abide by, and the law they swore to keep to favor the people, in favor of the people. Yes, because we know what happened. It's still a popular scenario, it's still a popular jingle. Off the mic. Nigeria has become a state where corruption, bad behavior, and all manner of negative habits or outcome are now what's it called? They are now compensated by higher positions in the country, and these people will not do any better as long as before now their hands are not clean. They could not defend themselves when they were called upon. Of course, they will not even do. If the system even allowed them to go scot-free that time, of course, it will keep allowing them to go scot-free when they become the leaders. So, the truth is, of what we see today, this inappropriate, wrong appropriation of funds, and they cannot explain where it went to, how they signed it, and all of that. The truth is, they will not want to make laws that will not favor them. Laws that will kick against them.
Okay.
That will allow them to be probed while they are on seat.
Right.
So this thing,
Fine.
We need to.
Yeah.
Yes,
we
go
need
ahead.
to.
Wrap up that thought.
Sorry, come again.
Yes, wrap up that thought, please.
Okay, so at this point in time, we need to call out these leaders. The legislature. You cannot be on the same page with the executive. Okay. Why would the Tinubu preferred candidate be the Senate president today, of course he will not want to work against his boss.
Right.
So that is what we are facing. We need to come out and call them out and ask them to either quit if they don't know what to do, or they face the law.
All right.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Right there, Omotayo.
Thank you.
All right.
Squeeze in one last one, shall we?
We should.
Okay.
One last one.
09073530044 and 09087668888.
Hello. Good morning. Hello.
Hello.
Good morning.
Baby,
how you doing now?
I did.
I beg you, water dey with you there. I never see say you drink water.
No worries.
Close down meeting. Which day you go call help us to go listen wetin dem dey talk na wetin dem dey promise us. You know, the money wey they say that they give a student, they don't they give. They know what they say that they give. They don't they give. We hear last time say, they don't start that.
They said it was going to start this month, but we still have some days in this month. They said it will start in January, but it moved to February, and we have a few days in the February. So
but what I want to ask, what of the one where they say they go pay for people accounts? What now you see, huh?
I don't know.
Life where we dey now we go dey hear from mouth because they go carry a call for radio dey announcer. We go dey happy. A father go promise a pikin akara go buy akara for you. A day come the father no bleed the akara. You go see the respect that father, abi you go call that father liar. I no really understand. Now they wan share money now we no see. They say make people open account make they pay money. They no see anytime when this government wan share money between themselves now we go say they hear parity they wan share money. E be like say you get money wey they wan share now we dey hear this one now. Make they put the money for refinery. Make our president be our friend calm down. E go benefit everybody. So far we are calling ourselves one Nigeria. Even at your place, I send a message today. Go to the president. Tell us, may carry our fair order. I know say you know. No, yes, you must go. You must go this time around. My name na BB Blessing. I call it from Motako. Go and meet our president because he's a listener. May he be our fair order. We don't want to share. We don't want to share our food again.
Thank you very much.
God bless you. Bye bye.
God bless you. Baby Blessing. I don't know what happened to your leg.
A straight command to you. Go
and tell the president.
You should go.
Who I am. Who is me? Who is my daddy?
But you know, as much as this could be funny at some point, you know, it's seriously not funny. I mean, the situation is becoming unbearable, right? And voices are being raised. The only thing should be the fact that if these voices should be channeled, you know, properly. So it should not be misguided.
Yes,
that's just
absolutely. And like I said earlier in the morning, don't allow the pressure get to you so much. Do not allow it. You know, someone said there's really nothing to laugh about or smile about or be happy about. But we must create our happiness. We must be deliberate about creating our own happiness, irrespective of what's happening around us. As much as you can, just exhale. Okay, exhale and just let it out. Which is why I like the job that we do. We provide an avenue for people to be able to just let out and release some of the negativity and toxicity and all of that pain that they have all bottled up inside. So, ladies and gentlemen, as much as you can, like I said in the morning, just get small MB or small data and watch a lot of comedy skits to keep you happy. Just do whatever. Have family around you at all times. Do not allow overthinking get to you. Have family and friends, discuss these issues and just generally stay happy. Akamata sent him a message here. We'll wrap up with that message. And it says, my annoyance with Nigerians is that when it's time to elect a leader, the same people crying about maladministration will exhibit all manner of sentiments. Akamata there. Thank you very much. Seems like we're people governed by sentiments. Thank you to everyone who's been a part of the conversation. Well, let's have a very, very wonderful day ahead of us. Do the practical things to cut down expenses. What you don't need, please do not buy. My name is Ihanacho Prince.
And my name is Udwak Daniel. Thank you for listening.
No offense to the commercials. It's just that we want to see other audio.